Community volunteers reached out to youth in the Des Moines schools who haven't shown up for school this year. Find out how successful the first ever Reach Out to Dropouts event was. Hubbell Elementary marked an important birthday recently. Find out just how long that school has been around. And dozens of United Way volunteers took time to read with students in Des Moines. Learn how they made a difference in students' lives. All this and more coming up on this edition of Channel 12 News.
From the Channel 12 studios in downtown Des Moines, this is a Channel 12 News Update.
What happens to students who drop out of school? Where do they go and why don't they come back? District leaders wanted to answer those questions, so on a recent Saturday, Des Moines Public Schools, working alongside United Way, organized the first ever Reach Out to Dropouts event. Over 200 community and school district volunteers spent a recent Saturday visiting over 300 homes of students in the Des Moines district who had not shown up for school this year. The volunteers talked with students about why they dropped out and what they could do to get them back in school. For some of the volunteers, this was a very personal mission.
I've been a teacher and an administrator for about 18 years now, and when they first started talking about it, they sent out a list of kids, and I'm looking, and I realized I know a lot of these kids, and it just made me think, I remember them in elementary school, and they loved school. And what has happened to make them decide not to continue? And I just want to help and see if I can get some of them go back to school.
The planning for this day started months ago, and in the weeks leading up to the walk, training was held for all of the volunteers. They asked questions about how to handle different situations and what to expect when they got to the homes.
Part of the reason why we are doing this and getting the community involved is so that the community understands exactly why it is that students are not returning back to school.
Then, in the week before the event, volunteers called the students to try to make sure they would be home when the groups would stop by. The event is being hailed as a success, and for good reason. 308 students were targeted that day. 23 students re-enrolled that day as a direct result of the outreach. 12 students said they had already earned their GED. 21 students said they were pursuing their GED. 58 students made an appointment or asked to be contacted the following week about re-enrolling. 13 students were not interested in pursuing their education. 133 houses did not answer their doors, but door hangers were left with information about re-enrolling. 48 houses were wrong addresses or the student had moved recently, and 222 volunteers participated in this event. Continued effort is being placed on dropout prevention in Des Moines. To date, 138 students have re-enrolled into school since this summer when the district implemented new strategies to keep kids in school. For more about what the district is doing to curb dropouts, visit the DMPS website at www.dmps.k12.ia.us. In other news, a student at McKinley Elementary recently received the surprise of her life when her mom showed up at school with some special guests.
Taylor, your grandma put your name in a box at my store. Yesterday, I drew your name out of the box, and what you win a Macintosh laptop computer. Also, on top of Taylor winning a Macintosh computer, your guys' school won $5,000.
Taylor Slavens, a 5th grade student at McKinley Elementary, won the laptop as a prize in the Hy-Vee Smiles for Education program. The $5,000 for the school will go toward purchasing new computers and other technology that is needed at McKinley. All this attention had Taylor smiling all day long.
It feels pretty excited because I feel like the paparazzi is shooting at me and something. And I feel really glad that I just won $5,000 for our school.
To be able to give back to the community, it's embedded in the very culture of our company to give back to the community and see the type of reception we get when we have an opportunity to do this. You can't replace that.
The Smiles for Education program is sponsored by Hy-Vee and Sara Lee Foods. The students at Hubbell Elementary celebrated a very special milestone recently. Their school is now 100 years old. It may look like the year 2009 outside Hubbell Elementary, but if you look closer, you'll find the students taking part in activities that look more like the year 1909. It was all part of the centennial celebration sponsored by the Hubbell PTA. The parents helped coordinate the events that day, with each group aiming to make the kids realize what it was like to be in school 100 years ago.
It was all kind of the parents' idea to come up with the topics. So a lot of parents you see are in period clothing. They're talking about home life. They're talking about cooking. They're talking about frontier life. It was all kind of their ideas.
The activities may have been from the early 1900s, but the principles behind them fit right into the International Baccalaureate program that Hubbell offers.
And the IB program stresses curiosity and inquisitiveness. And we feel by kind of giving them a perspective on what it was like to live 100 years ago, they can kind of make comparisons to what they have today and maybe be a little more thankful of the progress we've made and maybe start to ask questions about what things will be like in the future. And so far from everybody I've talked to in the classes, that's exactly the reaction that we're getting is kids are really starting to think about how things were then, how things are now, and where we will be.
Over 50 parents volunteered their time for this event, which is one reason the day was so successful. A few days later, the playground at Hubbell Elementary was buzzing with activity again, but this time it was just the fourth graders and their business partner. This was the annual Let's Go Make a Difference Day at Hubbell. Working with their business partner, Ernst & Young, the fourth graders participated in several activities, including touching up their playground map, painting rocks with action words, making cards for kids at Blank Children's Hospital, reading, and cleaning up around the building. Hubbell's students have also had the opportunity to visit the Ernst & Young offices.
Throughout the year, our fourth graders get to go down to the Ernst & Young offices and spend time and see what they do in their offices. So, you know, it's looking at what continuing their education can do and just that community and that involvement. I mean, these kids will remember this forever.
This shows how students benefit from having a partner in the business world. If your company is interested in becoming a business partner with one of our schools, visit our website and click this story to find out how you can get involved. Finally today, United Way's recent Day of Action brought reading volunteers into our school buildings.
And they were frightened to call him the most wild thing of all.
The Learn to Read initiative links community volunteers with students to help improve students' reading and literacy skills.
United Way set this up with the Des Moines Public Schools for a Day of Action, and it's a Learn to Read kickoff, and it's bringing volunteers in from the community to read with third grade students. They're reading books, they're doing a craft project, working on comprehension strategies, and then those students get to take the literacy kit home with them.
Volunteers came from around the city, including businesses such as Principal Financial Group, Wells Fargo, and Nationwide, as well as staff from the Des Moines Public Schools. It means a lot to these volunteers that their companies will let them take time away from their desks just to read with the kids.
It's very hard when you work 40 hours a week to find that time to volunteer. So for the employer providing you time to get out of work and you know, go help kids read, I mean, that's a huge deal.
534 volunteers from 15 area corporations visited third graders in 9 Des Moines elementary schools during this event. That's all for this edition of Channel 12 News. Thanks for watching. I'm Breezy Dillard and have a great day.